Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence. How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Tom Lee just spoke. Literally, I got it 23 seconds ago. He gave his thoughts on the S&P 500. And Bitcoin and that kind of stuff. Let's go through this. I want to play it for you. I'll be reacting to it live. We do have Bitcoin rebounding a little bit along with the general market. We'll talk about that as well. If you don't mind, though, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this one. As soon as they come out, you can watch them if you have the bell notification turned on. Also, if you want to trade crypto, I think now's a great time to be trading, getting ready for the next move of the market. Whether you think we're going into a bear market and you want to set some good long positions for the long term, or whether you think we're going back into a bull market and you want to get ready with maybe some more aggressive positions. Of course, make sure you understand what you're doing. I have low leverage on my positions, but you can sign up right now for BYDeFi. There's a link to it in the link tree. You can trade and get up to $10,000 worth of Bitcoin. This is going for another 3 days or so. So check this out underneath the video. There are also links to BTCC and Blowfin. Blowfin just, they sent me this, that you can get up to a Rolex worth of value depending on how much you trade. So check that out underneath the video as well. And yeah, Bitcoin recovering, right? We're starting to move up a little bit, 91.5, pretty good. The traditional market also up today after being down pretty significantly. NASDAQ still down 0.4%, but much higher than it was this morning when it was down over 1%. The S&P 500 is actually going green. Let's hear from Tom Lee, and then I'll give you some of my thoughts. Let me turn up the volume here.
This record-setting rally and how far stocks can go. Let's ask Tom Lee. He is Fundstrat's head of research, a CNBC contributor. He's with me at Post 9 because he is out with his 2026 outlook for stocks. Thanks for sharing it with us first. We appreciate you for that. So let's get right to it. So we're going to 7,700. That's the headline. So that's a pretty decent year in the year ahead. Not quite as robust as we had this year. Why that target?
Okay, so just for a little reference, and we'll get over to crypto in a second, or we'll talk about crypto, but that's, we're at 6,900. That's an 800 point move or $800 move on the S&P 500. That's over 10%. That's a good year, especially considering how much we're up this year.
Well, we're 3 years at 20% gains because the S&P probably closes 7,000 or so this year. And so I think there's a deceleration of what the market can do next year. But that 10%, I think, belies what will be a very turbulent year, similar to this year, where this year we had tariffs and sort of a Fed that became hawkish again. Next year is a year where we have a Supreme Court potentially overturning tariffs, and then a new Fed, which will be tested. So I think we could have what looks like a bear market in 2026, but we exit strong.
I mean, even with a new Fed, and it's divided, obviously, as we learned yet again yesterday. We know from what the president wants to do in terms of who he wants to appoint that the bias is going to be towards easing.
Correct.
So why so much turbulence around that particular issue?
You're right. I think next year the real message at the end of the year will be there's the Fed put back in play. So then you have a White House put and a Fed put, which are tailwinds for stocks. But before all that happens, the new chairman has to be confirmed. It takes about 90 days from the time that his nomination takes place and the confirmation. And the markets always test a new Fed chair. So I think that is the January to October period, is that the Fed is being tested, even though we know it's going to be a dovish Fed and a Fed put comes out of that.
So the uncertainty causes some concern, and that could take a while for the new Fed chair to come in. Keep in mind, Jerome Powell is willing to cut rates, but he's not super dovish, right? He's not just trying to slash them down to zero by any means. They're also concerned about inflation, but we'll most likely still see a cut or two next year, even before a new Fed chair comes in.
I think we're going to get, at least if you believe the outlook, which that's, it's your own prerogative, a cut into a strengthening economy, though. mean, at the end of the day, that supersedes everything. Isn't that partly what the last couple of days, yesterday and today, are about?
Yeah, I mean, this was in my mind, even though people positioned it as a hawkish cut, it's actually quite bullish for stocks because the Fed, again, is now weighing the downside risk to the economy, which is the Fed put coming back into play. Plus, as you know, QT ended, and even though it's not officially QE, it's the absence of tightening, which is QE.
I mean, you call it whatever you want. If the effects of whatever they're doing are nearly the same as if you want to call it QE, the bottom line is stocks went up and rates came down.
Yeah.
And if that continues to be the picture, it's going to be hard to lean against the equity market in that scenario.
Correct. And the right groups are responding, as you highlighted, small caps hitting record highs, financials rallying. And now what we just want is the ISM to turn. But if housing can turn, then you've got a real broadening taking place next year.
And they also said that they'll be repurchasing they'll be expanding the balance sheet by like $40 billion in the next 30 days. So we didn't get too much on crypto, although Tom Lee has said that we could see new all-time highs for Bitcoin by the end of next month. If the S&P 500 continues to rally too, I'm assuming he would say that we're going to continue moving up. Now, some people give Tom Lee a hard time, right? They say, well, he's been wrong about so much. The fact is, he hasn't been that wrong. I mean, yeah, Bitcoin and Ethereum have taken a pullback, and he hasn't said that that would happen. And he thinks that they're going to rally now, and they're not necessarily rallying right now. But the fact is, he's been right about Bitcoin since it was $5,000. He was, pushing for it. It's up 18x since then in like 5 years. So, think about Bitcoin as a long-term thing. He's probably right. They'll be up and to the right. Same thing with Ethereum. Now, he's been very correct about the traditional markets for a long time. I think you have to give him some respect, right? He's been one of the best analysts out there on Wall Street, and he hasn't been back and forth flip-flopping like a lot of the other ones. He's not just an analyst, right? He's the head of research, and he has his own ETFs and that kind of thing. So the S&P 500 recovering completely. Actually turning green. Dip buyers are in full swing. This is good to see. Part of this could have been due to the initial jobless claims that came in this morning, higher than expected. Kind of a bad news is good news situation, but just that happened really early today, even before the market opened, and it still was red when the market opened. But now we're seeing a full recovery. I think people realize that they want to hold on to equities. They want to hold on to good quality cryptos into the Fed cutting rates. And while there is some fear and some back and forth, the fact is there are dip buyers out there like Tom Lee. As I said this morning, they bought $112 million of Ethereum this morning. There are dip buyers out there. And yeah, you don't want to be out of this market going into a dovish Fed, a flip for the Fed too, and maybe the reversal of tariffs, which, I know some people are bullish on tariffs, but the fact is that is a drain on companies' profits or on consumers, that kind of thing. So, in my mind, just in general, unless the government gives us something else back, like some money back in some other way, which Trump is talking about giving some tax breaks as well, bigger tax breaks for certain, I think it was corporations. He was mentioning it today. The fact is, I don't like more taxation. I'd rather have less. But let me know your thoughts, because that is a tax, essentially. Tariff is a tax. Let me know your thoughts. If you do want to trade crypto, like I said, there are links underneath the video to BYDefi. You can start trading in just a few minutes. They have some of the best bonuses. Like when you look at how much you have to trade for $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, all the way down to $130 worth of Bitcoin, these are some of the best bonuses. The less you have to trade and the more that they give you, the better for you. And these are really competitive. I mean, I like Blowfin, and they hooked me up with this extra bonus that you wouldn't normally get. But still, I mean, you look at it, it's $250 million worth of trading for $9,400 value. And you look here, and it's $10,000 worth of Bitcoin for $100 million of trading volume. So a little bit different there. But of course, I like multiple platforms. I think you should have multiple platforms, and you might as well cash in on a pretty sweet bonus on both of them if you can. And of course, everyone's different. You trade different amounts. Make sure that what you like and trust wherever you do end up trading. I do use multiple platforms to trade, but I've really been liking BidFi recently. If you do want to join our Telegram too, we give updates on these like different trading competitions and like show who got what rewards and that kind of thing. So check that out underneath. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all soon. Bye.